charts is first and foremost my only way of trading. I mean, I draw on charts. You see me drawing them all the time in the room. You know, lines become relevant even later on as far as that goes. So it's really important to determine, first off, if you are trending or you're chopping. You can usually tell that by our colors. And you also check with those HC lines and even trend lines. You got to know that minor trend, the secondary trend. Those are two of the most important because that's how we enter trades and also write off of particular points and everything. But and then you need to know obviously what the trend is on the left and the right. So in other words, is it really heading up in a good way on a bigger move? And you know, that way you can be on the right side of the trade. Because there's times when you see, you know, where it just barely breaks, you know, just barely stair steps a mid-band. Well, it's going to take a while to get that color back. So, you know, you've got to be ready to take that trade, you know, back the direction it was really heading to begin with, even though those colors changed and things like that. But anyway, I won't go through all of this, but basically, you know, you can freeze this and just kind of trade like this, really. Okay. And so what I like to personally do, and it just goes all the way down to basics, it's just totally basics, is you look at lightning. Okay. Lightning on your chart is critical to trading and making money. Okay. Because, you know, if you put like a 30-minute chart, you might have a bar that actually just totally goes, you know, just like straight up like that. You wouldn't have any of this. Let's put it on a little bit larger. That's as large as it goes, isn't it? Anyway, you know, in a 30-minute chart or something like that, you might just have one bar that does that, and then you have another bar that retraces, and then you have a break. You know, that's kind of like what we do on Lightning 3, okay? Because on Lightning 3, you're really looking for basically the trend, the overall trend at the particular moment, okay? So, but what you want to do is you don't want to actually wait, you know, for instance, to take this trade when it takes this out right across here. You know, you want to take this trade when it takes this out right across here, okay? Because that's a good thrust retrace and you box it in. Notice how much better? See, this is more down in this sweet spot right here, okay? So that's why we look at Lightning 1, 2, and 3. Now 4 is not as important, although 4, basically Lightning 4 is 12 range bars and 5 swing strengths. So that's like a 60 tick move, okay? Your Lightning 3, on the other hand, is 4 range bars, but it's 15 swing strength. So for it to actually form a swing, it's going to have a good thrust and a pullback to be able to calculate the algorithm and then draw, you know, where Lightning 3 would be right there, where you'll get that little number there, okay? So basically, what we're doing on our charts at all times is we're looking for little micro swing breaks, little secondary swing breaks, and for sure when they change trends, okay? Because when they change trends, you know, just to give an example, this morning in the room, you know, Kenneth had mentioned that he got like $1,500 and he just did one trade. He did it with, you know, quite a few contracts, but he waited for the trade to come to him. Too many people jump into trades just willy-nilly, and that's not what we want for you to do, and that's definitely not what Apex wants you to do either, okay? You want to be in a direction, but you also got to remember, though, that direction can change in a moment, okay? And the way it does that is with lightning swings. Because really all we're doing on this is just a really micro type of a trend right here. This is literally like a 4 range bar up, you know, tries to pull back and then breaks it. And you're basically just drawing a little zigzag on those 4 range bars. This is actually 2 range bars at least, you know, it has to be at least 2. And so it gives a little bit larger swing. Okay, but keep in mind that bars can be side by side, not totally side by side. Usually it's usually about a tick difference because obviously the way a bar closes and then the next one opens. Okay, but the important thing to do is, you know, not chase trades, you know, wait for the pullbacks to happen, be on the right side of the trade, watch the colors. The colors are pretty important, but you got to learn also to go against the colors occasionally because you're looking left to trade the right. And what I mean by that is when that left swing is taken out, then it's time to go, you know, if you were heading up, then it's time to go south. On the smaller bars, I like to look more at an A, B, C type move. And that would be like, that's hard to draw that. That would be, you know, a break there where it would break, kiss, and roll, okay? Now, if you're looking at the larger chart, of course, it'd be down here. Okay, so let me show you on some charts and everything. Anybody have any questions on the lightning though? Because basically, lightning has always been a critical part of Viper trading systems because we look at such small charts. You know, we're not Well, like just to give an example, we're not experts on, 15 and 30-minute charts, for instance. Could I trade those? More than likely, because I'd look at the breaks and things like that, but I'd probably be in earlier, like on fib retracements and things like that. But this is just an easier way to trade, in my opinion. Let's see, is lightning marked at the close or the high? Well, Ivan, on your question, basically, with lightning, you've always got to have some type of a swing. Okay, like I started drawing lightning up here where I just downloaded some data. Right now this is lightning 2. You have a high, you have a low. So far you have a lower high, but you don't know if it's going to be that, right? But this is done 1, 2, several thrusts up. See what I mean? That's another thing that you want to always look for too. When you start trading, don't buy at the tops unless you box it in and it doesn't go against you. Okay, because what will happen a lot of times, you'll get in and they've already done a move, like let's say something like this: thrust, retrace. You can see lightning 3. I could actually just draw lightning 3, but I'm going to do it by hand so you can see it better. See, now that's actually already a thrust up, a retrace, thrust up. That's a 1, 2, 3. A lot of times you don't get a whole lot more than that. Okay, now this is going to draw, the way lightning draws on lightning 3, it only draws from green to yellow to green. Notice that there's no yellow here. Okay, so the way lightning would draw on this particular chart would literally be like this instead, because there was no zigzag strong enough to make a lightning 3. However, they did make lightning 2s. Let me show you what I mean. So I'll draw it from down here. See, now notice how that's stair stepping up, right? Every time this starts climbing, you get a high, you get a low, you get a higher high, you get a higher low. If they don't take out the top, you got to be careful with just taking it out when they barely touch this one. But if they get a higher low, you stay with it. Okay. But also they can top out, like a good 1, 2, 3, for instance, and you can watch lightning. And if they do break, that is an opportunity for an aggressive trader to go short. Okay. But a better place to do it, obviously, is if it really proves to you that it is heading down. Okay. Now, when they prove to you that they're heading down, they'll give you some kind of a retrace. It doesn't have to be large. It just has to be a little retrace. Okay. So, for instance, if you were trading this, and let me go over some things too, because it's really important, our color schemes and everything, because when we go from one extreme to another, see, this is a big downtrend, and then it went to an uptrend, and then it went to a downtrend, then it went to an uptrend, then it went to a downtrend. So what we like to do is we like to get those first time in the mid-band or any type of predictors or something like that on a pullback. Okay. So for instance, if you were looking at this particular chart, see how this thrusted up, change the colors, background change, mid-band change, boom, there's a trade. See what I mean? And keep in mind, I don't even have the power dots on here, but we could put the power dots on and I'll bet it draws somewhere in here, more than likely. Okay. So what you want to do, okay, is if you get a stair-stepping mid-band and look to the left to trade the right, and they go ahead and break, for instance, here's a little thrust up right here. I like to kind of look at this like this right here. This is telling me that if they break that area right there, that they're probably breaking down, and you can get some of these phantom trades or mid-band trades. Okay, we could turn on the bars and everything to actually see if it did, which it probably did, because as a rule, our stuff is pretty good at catching that when it actually changes like that. Okay, so you want to see if it did just real quick, because this is kind of the area that I would be looking for it. And keep in mind, I can't see any bars right now, so I'm kind of flying blind. But I can also tell you though that when this is stair stepping, like so, and then they start breaking that step that they made, they're probably definitely changing trends. And of course, you'd be looking at it like this. Okay, that's what you'd be looking at. So you're right around that phantom, you're thinking, wow, this might just head up, but it didn't, it headed down. Okay, and if you drew lightning on it, let's just do that since we don't have bars on it. See if I can draw it. Hopefully I can go back that far. Yeah. All right, see how this actually did a break kissed predictor, just like it did over here on the long side we were talking about over here. But notice how you got a break, you pulled back and you kissed, and you got you a trade. Now the key is, how long do you stay in a trade? Because that is the $1 million question, and I mean literally $1 million, because if you can master it, you can make $1 million trading. I'm not saying that everybody will, But you got to keep in mind though, that as long as the lightning is stair stepping down, you could stay with that trade. But when they change trends, like right across here, see like so, that's a trend change. Just the same as we were looking at this, where this was kind of stair stepping down. When did this change trends? Right across there when it broke it. See, this one here, if you went about the same spot, where did it change? You had a low, you had a high, you had a higher low, you had a higher high right through there. So that's kind of like a little box, isn't it? And our scripts pick this up, I think, really, really nicely, okay? But what you got to get in the habit of, and I find myself doing the same thing, and it's almost irritating because, we're not CTA, we're not registered brokers, anything like that. We're just trying to teach people to trade our particular system and been quite successful at it for 16 years. But the way we do that is we look for the thrust, the retrace thrust, and you've got to get out on these micro trend breaks. And sometimes you can even change trends, especially if you've got an identified low, high, lower low. And let's say you were looking at this and you said, okay, I don't really trust this, okay? How about the ABC, 1, 2, 3? How about getting in across here instead? Or if you say, you know what, this even looks better here to me, I'll just wait till it absolutely breaks 56, okay? And it broke 56 even, see what I mean? So as long as it's breaking on the left, you can change trends, okay? Now our stuff will catch it. I'll show you. Now where you're gonna catch this, the background's gonna start changing when you start getting any movement like up above this midband and stuff. But then as it actually goes above this shadowed area right here, that's when you get the midband that changes, okay? And that's 48 ticks from 0 to 8. So when it changes this right here, most times you can take that to the bank that that's a trend change. But you already got it. An aggressive trader way down here, a little more conservative trader would get it right across here or even here, okay? And if you do take those like that, then you've got to let them have a little bit of wiggle room. Like for instance, if I took this trade, I'd probably put my stop just underneath 44 at the time, but if it started stair stepping, I'd go, whew, now I can move my stop, okay? So the whole idea of trading the Viper system is that in any given morning, you're gonna have longs and you're gonna have shorts, okay? It's not like looking at like a 30-minute chart on, maybe one of these firms that actually has you look at a 30-minute chart and trade a 15-minute chart, something like that. Because if you think about time bars, we trade literally for 2 hours in the morning, okay? If you use 30-minute bars, you'd have 4 bars. See what I mean? So how could you possibly make money trading that? Now, could you all day? Absolutely. But what about the first 2 hours in the morning where you just want to get nicely green and turn off the machine? This little trade right here, by the way, on Friday, I think this was on Friday, was it? It might have been on Thursday. Let's see. 26, that was on Thursday, wasn't it? Wait, Wednesday. 26, 27, 28, 29th was my birthday. Yeah, that was Wednesday. So would we have called that trade in the room? More than likely when it even broke. But see how you can tell by your midband even, you're stair stepping on this midband. Let me just kind of click on it so you can see the little circles. See how the midbands, now that drew it on all of them, never mind. But see how it stair stepped up. So you're buying longs right over here on this side of the chart. But then when it starts breaking down, you've got to make up your mind to where you want to actually take it. But the whole premise of a downtrend is a high, a low, a lower high, lower low, boom, you're in. That's aggressive. You want to wait a little bit longer, look at a little bit less aggressive entry like we talked about here, because that's still a great trade, okay? Because if you got in this trade at like 56, for instance, and look to the left to trade the right, and you got taken out right in through here, see where it got a high, low, lower high, took that out right there, you'd be out of the trade. You could go back in it, obviously. But we like to get out on trend lines. I love trend lines. You draw a trend line, they start playing around with your trend line, they're going to take you out. And you just draw them simply on the thrust retrace, draw the trend line. And you can use OT, object traders, to get out. You understand that, Ivan? Let me see. What I mean is the turning point at the extreme range of the bar or at the close, which may be a fair bit lower. Well, swings actually, if you think about lightning, to give an example, and that's a very good question, Ivan, let me show you. If you look at lightning 2 to give an example, okay? This is not a black box, by the way. You can play with this, and if you find something better, that'd be just great. And I'd love to even, find better as far as that goes. We're always looking. But see, this is just a 4-range bar, okay? 4-range bar, and it has a swing strength of 2. What that actually means when it's got a swing strength of 2 is that you got to get a bar down, and then take out that swing on the left, and then you'll get that lightning drawing. So see, this actually went bar down, bar up, but didn't take it out. Remember, bars don't have to be, when you think of 2 bars, they're not equal, okay? Think of it this way. You could have 2 bars that literally just start out and go straight up like that, and then the very next bar literally is on top of that one and goes up like that, a little bit higher, one more tick. All right, that would be an 8 tick. But keep in mind that if a bar closes, usually if it's trying to go up, they'll actually even slippage, or in other words, they're actually trying to go up like this. So basically, this is a box right here, okay? But that's a big box. I don't like that box. I don't like a 9 tick box, because now if your bar instead shoots up and then tries to shoot down instead, say something like, that's not quite straight, but anyway, see how much better that box is right there? Okay, that's still 2 bars though. Okay, so when this does 2 bars, it can be 2 bars down, okay, and then 2 bars up, but those 2 bars might be like this one here looks like about 6 or 7 ticks instead. So it's probably something about like that. Okay, so, and the beauty of the swings is they will get you out every single time at the right spot, unless you just go for a certain profit, you know, like you want a particular amount of profit, that's even fine. But you know, to give an example, if you were trading this right here and it was just right at the room close, okay, and you saw this happening, could you see how that you could literally easily get in right across there? That was literally Charles's favorite trade right there. When it took out a swing on the left, had an identified low, identified high, another identified low. So you had a low, high, lower, low. And when it takes that out right there, what if they just barely wick it and then they roll over? But the key to it is that looking left to trade the right, when they break those swings like that, they're usually pretty much heading up. But you could dip the toe, you know, one contract when it breaks this, maybe out another one right here, or even put a box, something like across there, and when it comes back and kisses it, take one, you know, just like a 6 or 7 tick box, because they'll usually do that. Okay, and you can also even use those power dots too, because power dots will make a huge difference. Now notice I don't even have any price on this chart, but you can still tell where to get long, where you can tell where to get short. You know, like matter of fact, if you drew lightning 2 here, let's just draw it from the top. See, that's a high, a low, lower high, lower low. So anytime they break this area, that's the lower low right through here. If you do a little 6 or 7 tick box, they're more than likely going to break it. And that's how we teach that, to where you can actually box that in at Phantom. Okay, because anytime you get a 1, 2, 3, you know, look at this without seeing the rest of it, you're still seeing a high, a low, a lower high, lower low. Now, could that just be an ABC type pullback? Yes. So what you're wanting it to do is to break that. Okay, you don't want to just take it willy-nilly, unless it's been down a lot and you can box it like above midband, to give an example. This is below midband, so it's about the same thing, but opposite. Okay, and trades like that will work out quite a bit. See, this one here, you never got short. Okay, you got long instead, and then you got short. See how that works? Because that's just the first time into Phantom after a trend change, but it went up 10 ticks or so, and then it cratered it. Okay, so let's go on and look at some more along in here. Let's just see what the chart gives us here. All right, we're heading down, still heading down. Now remember we said we were going to go long if it busted what? The swing, right? Is that busting the swing? It did, didn't it? And there's some of our people that even use lightning on the chart until they learn to see it without drawing lightning on the chart, that actually leave lightning on the chart. To me, it gets a little bit noisy, but it's still not a bad way, you know, to trade it. And then let's see if we can figure out if it goes the other way. You're still heading up so far. Still heading up so far. They're just wicking. Now, what I normally do is if they barely wick those areas like that, see how they barely take out that top there? I don't put my stop quite that tight, unless you just want to take the initial profit and then try to get in again. But let's watch it and see when it changes trends. It's changing trends. Now, that's a little bit what I consider aggressive, because it could just come down to mid-band. But notice over here that they never really did that. See, they're literally going below that swing right there. Okay, they kiss it, and that's kind of telling you that then if they roll over, you pretty much want it. Okay, see how that works? lightning kiss. Now, a conservative trader, on the other hand, would look, you've got a low, high, higher, low. So this is your conservative entry right there, okay? Now, if you box that, like I teach on the Phantom, then pretty much you're shorting that puppy. See what I mean? Because it broke it. It broke the swing that we drew, okay? And by the way, those are Lightning 3 swings in this case, because you got to think of every move is like a thrust, a retrace, and a thrust. But it's also a thrust, a retrace, thrust, retrace, tries to pull back a little bit, thrust again. The little move. That's your micro move. Okay, we call this one secondary micro move because it's still micro, because you're literally only talking about 4 range bars, 2 of them. So, but if they don't zigzag, you can get a good move. You know, if you looked at this on the actual bars, you didn't get any kind of a zigzag to ever draw a swing until up in here. Okay, and that'll also help you, by the way, even to get out of trades too, because if they would have just headed up, 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 and never even pulled back at all, which never happens, very seldom, you can stay with the trade forever. But if they start breaking these little swings and breaking trend lines, you've got to make that decision. You might not want to go short yet because the line in the sand for conservative traders right there instead. And like I said, I don't like to personally take them when they just barely break. You want to kind of box them in. So then if it breaks this, they are heading down. Because let me just show you what I mean. I'll just take the Lightning 2 off and draw Lightning 3. This went green to green. Well, let's see, green. That's yellow and green. Well, anyway, the way I would draw it personally is a little bit different than that, because it went thrust, retrace, thrust, and that is definitely a lightning. That's actually not a, yeah, it is, it's yellow, okay. So, you know, when they do that like that, and you can draw your lines on your chart, that's pretty much where they do trend change, okay. Now let's watch and see if we can figure the next trend change. We're kind of talking about trend change type trades for right now, because you'll see them over and over. Let me get rid of some of this. All right, so let's watch. We'll draw our lightning again. Let's draw it from, we'll draw it from up here, that's fine. Okay, so that's heading down quite a bit, right? Okay, so let's see when it changes trends. Okay, you're getting low, you're getting high, you're getting higher low, you're getting higher high. So this is decision time. It's not time just yet, because looking to the left to trade the right, your swing is way up here. Now, this is not where I'd be looking to get in this trade, because then you got to look left and right, because see how this is consolidating right here? So if they do decide to stair step at all, you could take it, because you got a low, you got a high, you got a higher low, you're starting to get a higher high. I see resistance right across here even. So basically, that's probably a Charles trade. Let's see if it works. I'm not sure if it will or not, but let's check it. There's your little break. There's your little kiss. What do you think? I'd box that trade in a heartbeat. Because see, you are getting a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Isn't it looking like this? This chart over here and this chart over here. Ivan, what happened to Charles? Charles passed away almost 2 years ago. But I'm carrying on the legacy. All right, everybody see how you can see this trade? If it takes out this little line right here, I'd probably be on this like a duck on a June bug, because I'm looking at resistance and I'm not even seeing prices, but I am seeing lightning, and that's the way I trade. My eyeball just constantly sees lightning. You know, I feel like I'm in a thunderstorm every day of my life because I see these lightning swings. And when I'm in that room, I call them, you know, where I say, for instance, you know, hey, Essie's getting a low, a high, higher low, and a higher high. We're probably looking at a trend change here pretty shortly. And it's definitely the way to trade. Let's see if this breaks. I'm just curious. See there? That turned out to be a good trade. Now, did it break even this swing over here on the left? Yes. Now, another thing that you can do, obviously, is wait for a less aggressive trade, but you're not going to make as much money and you're going to miss some good trades, is, see, we took that because it was stair stepping up. We just simply boxed it in, okay? But you can also look and say, you know what? If you kind of kiss right through that area right there, I would probably draw about a 5 or 6 tick box. And if you kiss that, I'd take another trade. And see, they came right in the box and they kissed it. So that's another way to trade it too, because when they break out, they'll usually check the swing they just broke. Okay. Now let's see how long you would stay with this trade. And let's see if you can pick the next time it changes trends. All right, so you're still long, pulling back a little bit, no big deal, right? Your lightning's intact. It's kind of hesitating there a little bit. What do you think? Well, your stop would be right here. You could even say, you know what, if you go below 72, I'll take you off the table. That's a little bit low, but you're getting a good trade. You see what I mean? So they haven't checked 72, so I'd probably reserve that. So let's see if it holds. See, and you're getting higher low again. You got a high, low, lower, high, not a lower low yet. Where's your stop now? It's right there. Now your stop's there. Now when they thrust up like that, right there, I start being more cautious because see how lightning is just going straight to the moon? That was probably more than likely some good volatility going on, but let's watch it and see what it does. You're still okay. Stops can be right there. Out. Why would you be out there? Anybody? Do you see how lightning was stair-stepping up? It's no longer stair-stepping up. Now it's not stair-stepping down yet, but it broke your lightning on the left. Okay, so when they do that, of course you could always put your stop like right there, but you know, because they haven't checked that yet, but that's way too far down. You know, when this one, we did this a minute ago, that was only from here to here. So that wasn't near as bad to see if they would come back to there, and they didn't. But everybody see how to do that? Now let's look at lightning just to see if this changes trends. There's a high, there's a low, there's a lower high. Let's see if it breaks this area. Looking left to trade the right, aggressive, or pardon me, conservative traders have to wait all the way to down here because that's a swing. Now, like I say, when you get a monster move like that, I usually use the right side and don't worry as much about the left. So if it does break this right across here, just put your line in, draw your little box, and see if it actually does break it. Let's see if it does. Okay, it broke it. It totally broke it. Okay, so that's the way. And if you look at this lightning over here, this is doing exactly the opposite of this. It quit stair stepping up. It started doing this. It's going high, lower, low. If you had your left really close like that, that's even better, like across here, like that, to break that. But see, yours is all the way down to here on this one, and I don't wait that long. As a matter of fact, this one here, you could just box in Phantom if you didn't trust this one, especially when you get that red background. Okay, let's see how far that went down just for the fun of it. I'll tell you when to get out of it. Right there. Whoa, some move, huh? That looks like the end of the day, so you'd be out already anyway. Everybody see how cool that is? If you learn to just the basics, you know, we've got traders that actually don't do anything more than just do the basics. 3 trade setups. First time after a trend change, mid-band trade, regardless which direction it's going. First time after a trend change, Phantom trade. If it doesn't work, you're shorting it the other direction because Phantoms are going to be deep retracements or trend changes. Okay. So let me just slide this over just a little bit. I want to see if you can pick some other areas just real quick because we got to go to a new day, obviously. Here's the 27th. All right, let's look at the 27th. You get up in the morning and you see this right here. Okay, this is at night. Okay, this is on the, let's see, that's it. Yeah, that's just at the market change right there. Okay, so let's just pretend that you're trading here, and that's where the market opened. All right, so this is all the way to 8 o'clock. What is happening on your chart as we speak right now? It's breaking swings on the left. Your conservative entry is right here. If they break that, anything under that conservatively, you could absolutely still short it. Okay, keeping in mind though that if they do break this area, that they're going to head up. They are starting to get the look of heading up because they're breaking swings. Okay, so let's keep looking and see what they do. It's breaking up. See it? Checking the swing. I'd probably jump on this little puppy like a duck on a June bug here pretty soon. Wouldn't you? Let's box it and see if it'll work. That's a higher low again, barely higher, but it is a higher low. Let's just box it and see if it works. So we're going to be long right across there. And if you're a little bit less aggressive, right there, because that would be a 1, 2, 3 break, So I'm going to go aggressive and see if it works, and I'll get out real quick if it doesn't. See there? A full-blown trend. Can't speak right. Got my tongue tied. A full-blown trend change. See how that works? Always look to the left to trade the right, and you're going to become one of the better traders out there, because the thing is, if you get chopped around or something like that, you can usually take it to the bank that you can get out of it, because you'll get one of those runs. Okay? I personally like it. Now, keep in mind that if you want to wait literally until you get a good full stair stepping, for instance, if you're looking like this right here, to give an example, to me, this was stair stepping down, but see how it broke all these swings here, and you got a higher low through here. So I would be very careful of shorts while they're doing that, simply because changing color backgrounds and things like that happens a lot, but it's not necessarily a true trend change. You got to watch your swings. Okay, let's see where we can get out of this one too. Notice we don't have any prices on these charts whatsoever. I'm sticking with it. Good to go. Bring our stop right underneath there. Now bring your stop right underneath here. A little iffy. Yeah, that's getting iffy. So you got a high, you got a low, you got a lower high. So you got support right across here. So if they break this swing, I'm out of this trade. So let's see if they do. Yep, we're out. Now, does that mean that you short it there? Well, if you're gutsy, you can, but keep in mind that they could easily just fake you, because on the left, they've got a high, low, higher high. So to me, before I would short this little puppy right here, I would probably want it to break 30. Let's see if it does for the fun of it. No short. There's your short. There's 10 ticks at least too. See how that works? Oh, you got here late, Scott? It's being recorded, so it'll be up on the webinar, up on the site tomorrow. I will definitely get it posted. We're really just trying to go over trend changes. Let's just pick some more areas and see if everybody can pick the trend change. You want to? Let's see. Well, one thing about it, with the nature of swings, the problem with swings is you can actually get, even on Lightning 1, you can get a move like this that never even pulls back. There's an example right there. See? And the reason that is the case is because there wasn't enough of a pullback. If you looked at it, you'd see even on Lightning 1, to give an example, there probably wasn't hardly any pullback on Lightning 1 even. See, barely, see there, Lightning 1. Let's see, Dave, can you show how OT would take the trade? Well, basically, OT will take the trade, just the way you said it. I'm going to try to go a little bit more over this basic stuff tonight. And the reason for that is because I want people to really catch on to this type of trading, okay? Let's go to 7:45. This was June 27th, which was Thursday. So let's see if we can all pick the trade. I'm going to forward it to 7:45 when I open the room, 7:30ish. Right about, you're not seeing it yet. So let me ask you a question real quick. If you look at this chart right here, whoops, sorry, I didn't want that to do that. Just one second. Let me go back to where I was. I must have clicked something wrong. Bear with me just one second, because I want to show you how we always see that. It's pretty cool. I'm going to go back to 8 o'clock, right about 7:40 when we open the room. All right, I'm going to get rid of Lightning, and I'll show you the chart in just one second. And I'm going to get rid of all the lines and everything that's on the chart. And we're going to simply draw Lightning 2. Okay, 5:40 in the morning, they had a low right here. So just like Charles always used to teach, I draw lines on my chart. I know I've got a high there and I've got a low there. That's pretty simple to look at. But now I've got to look and see, when will they get me in the trade if I didn't see this because I wasn't up? So I've got to draw on my chart. Let's just draw it from right here. All right, so let me ask you a quick question on this. if this is a low, this is a high, this is a higher low, and that's a higher high, where could you box this trade in? Anybody? Because we already, we weren't up. I mean, this is exactly when I opened the room right here. So we can always say that, hey, we got all these trades, but we didn't. Let's just pretend that we just got up. Where's our trade? You've got a low, high, higher low, higher high. That's right around the phantom area. Box that little puppy in. If you're more conservative, right across here instead. And let's see what it did. So we're long on the trade, right? No getting out of it. It went above, so I'm long. Got my stop in though. Beautiful. Where would your stop have been initially on this trade? Right down there at that swing. Then it made this swing. Let's see if it makes more. Starting to wane a little bit. Starting to wane a little bit. What do you think? Well, an aggressive trader, you could draw your measured move and see if it'll get there. I don't know where it would be. Right now, we'd have to draw it to see it. But I'm not liking this about right through here because I'm seeing that they're trying to break this. And I know that if they break it, they're going to go down to at least looking left to trade the right there, or even here. Okay, and we don't want them to do that, right? Now, if it just barely breaks it and heads up, you could go ahead and hold on to it. But I would, in a case like this, if I was trading and we got that trade, and I'm pretty sure we did on Thursday because I called it, then you can either take it out if it literally closes below this line right here, or you could do it. And I think I even said this in the room the other day when we were in this trade. I said you could always put your stop at 72 on that trade. Let's see if it works. So we're going to aggressively take it out if it goes below, what is that, 82. So let's see if it does. Okay, aggressive traders are out. One that's a little bit more likely to possibly go up. Let's see if it holds that one. See how they just did an ABC instead? So always look to the left to trade the right. Now, does that mean that you couldn't have gotten out of this at a better spot though? Because to me, that was your out right there. And if you draw Lightning 1, you might even get out a little bit earlier. Let me look at it. Lightning 1 was the same. It had, see, anytime you get this pullback pretty precipitously, you don't draw swings. It has to have a zigzag. So it'd still be the same out on Lightning 1. Everybody see that? High, low, lower high, lower low. That's your out right there. Do I care if this goes up any more than that? Well, if you did, what if you held this here? You're holding all the way to midband, from 95 all the way to 72. That's 23 ticks, where you got out at like 81 when it just touched that line, or at least closed below it. So you're flat on the trade. All right. Now let's see if you can pick where the next trade is. Because what I look at when I see this right here is I'm looking, let's see how far it goes up first. Okay, it's going up further. Now, let me ask you a quick question. On this chart, where's your line in the sand long short? Anybody? We've had webinars on this. You've got a high, you've got a low, you've got a lower high, you've got a lower low. I would box this area right through here. If they did decide to break it, I'd be considering very possibly taking a short if they broke it, because your swing's all the way down here. So you'd probably get at least 10 ticks. Always look to the left to trade the right. Okay, but an aggressive trader, a very aggressive trader, could literally short a 1, 2, 3 if it breaks this area right here. Short it, but that's a little aggressive for me. I've been in too many, even on sim, where I've just tried that particular trade, and they'll barely get you in, then they'll pop it on you. So I like to have a full trend change first. Okay, so we've got a 1, 2, 3 over here on the left. That's our line in the sand long short. Let's see what happens. It broke it. What do you think? I'd use that box more than likely right there, because you'd at least get to phantom if they do break this. Let's see if it does. Yeah, we're in. Holding it. Turned out to be a good little trade. See how that works? Now, keep in mind, could you take the profit at phantom, since this is still a green background, just barely changed? Well, let's see if it stair steps a little bit more. Yeah, I'd put my stop right there. See if it stair steps any more at all. Whoa. Stops right there. See how you're getting higher or low. Stops right there. This your line in the sand long short right here. Anything in this little sweet spot, you're looking for first time into midband after a trend change. Something like that. This your resistance right here. where that swing is, anything above that, you'd be looking long. Everybody see that? This is your little bit more aggressive area, simply because it barely broke. And anytime you break like this, you're more than likely going to get that first mid-band trade, because that mid-band trade is about an 85% probability trade. Okay, so let's see if we do get that at all. Okay, you stopped out on your short. There's a little area right there to box in. Mid-band trade setup. So in a case like this, seeing this lightning swing right there, I'd box it in right across there like that. So if it breaks that box, we'll take it. If it kisses mid-band, you could go with 1, but I'll add 2 if it goes to here. Let's just go 1 here and 1 here. Maybe a fake. They checked it twice. We're still in it. Got to get a lower high though. Got to get a lower high. See how we got a high, low, lower high barely, or maybe the same. So let's start it over high, low, lower high. And put your stop right there. And you're out. Everybody see how easy that can work? That turned out to be a decent little trade. Now, is this a trend change yet? No. No, so let's see if we can get, well, it didn't ratchet down, so this is not my favorite trade, but if you want to, we'll go ahead and box it in and see if we can get it one more time. But personally, I don't like this next trade because it didn't take out the low. Now, I've left some money on the table before because I don't trust that trade. But if you want to go ahead and take that, we can. But what we got to do is we got to make sure that we box the little puppy in, okay? So let's see if we can get it. So we don't want it going above there, just like we said. That's your lightning swing. Resistance on the left, big resistance over here. So let's see if we can get this trade at all. If it kisses that area right there and gets a lower high, I will take it, or if it gets the same high. So let's see if it doesn't take it out. Put our line right there. Yep, you're in it. Stops right there. You're almost out. Gotcha. You see how that can work? Now, if you want to stay with this for the gusto, you want to get a thrust retrace and another thrust, okay? But if you're more of a scalper, you're going to actually take it out on these little breaks and even a trend line break, okay? Let's see if this rolls over. I'm going to just say, okay, let's leave it if it doesn't go back in the box. See, and it did roll over. Yeah, then you put your stop right here instead, and then you'd watch it to see if you get a lower one, or a little lower, and you're out. It works. It definitely works. And see, this is even without bars on the chart. You're strictly looking at the swings, okay? So what would it take to change trends on this chart? Anybody? You got to take out your swings. And then you got to wait for a pullback, or you take the quick trade if it does break. You can get some good 15 tick trades that way. But let's just look at the background instead. Let's watch it. Stair stepping up. Starting to stair step up a little bit. See how that's got a low, high, higher, low, higher, high? That's your box area right across there, in my opinion. So let's see if that works. This is a little higher than I like, but let's just see if it works. That's a 1, 2, 3. And let's just box that little puppy right across there as a phantom. See if it gives us anything. Nope, didn't get it. Did not get it. But it'd have to break that, wouldn't it? Because that's a 1, 2, 3. That's even a 1, 2, 3, because that's pretty close to the same low. But that's just a good phantom trade there is all that is. But if they do break this area, then you can count on the fact that they would probably go up. But so far they're not. There they did. See it? You're long. Now, we may have even gotten long a little bit earlier down in here because it was starting to stair step too, but let's just say we didn't. We just boxed it like that. Let's see if it gets 10 ticks. So we got in at 72. And, oh yeah, beautiful trade. 72, that takes some coin, you know, roll your stop back to break even plus or whatever you want to do, because that's a decent trade right there. Okay. This is the way this is done continually. And you'll find that if you do this every day of your life, you'll do pretty good on your trading. Now, that's not going to mean that occasionally you're not going to get bit, because they do like to do their sidebase stuff. Now, what I'd like to talk about the next time, this webinar was just strictly about swings. Okay. But next I want to talk about the coming up Monday, we're going to talk about the mid-band trades and the phantom trades and simply waiting for those. Okay, we did a little bit more trend break today. Okay, this is looking for these trend changes as they happen. Okay, let's see, is the inverted head and shoulder as well? Yeah, well, one thing about 4-range bars, you know, it's kind of hard to, you just really want to look for highs, lows, lower highs, and lower lows, because you know, where the professional traders look for head and shoulders on like daily charts and big old minute charts and everything, I don't think they work quite as well. But notice another thing too, though. Let me show you something else, and I think you can take this to the bank. You know, you get this little trade. There's your phantom. Okay, if you missed it, there's a predictor type trade. There's a predictor type trade, and there's a predictor type trade. It broke support, so what? You're not going long anymore. You're going short, right? It just works time and time again. I mean, you can go to today. Let's just pick some time today, and then we're going to wrap. Anybody ever have to gargle with salt water 10 times a day? Got to get it healed. Let's see if we can see something. And let's draw it so it's not confusing. I'm going to get rid of all the lightning except from right where we would be diagnosing the chart. All right, so let's go ahead and diagnose our chart. I'll go ahead and turn the chart back on for everybody. All right, let's look at this real quick right here. Okay, so you got a little bit of a red background. You're stair stepping down, right? Your line in the sand long shorts right there. Aggressive is right here, but I wouldn't touch that at all personally, because that one can get you. Matter of fact, it broke it, but let's see what it does. Still broke down. See what I mean? You don't want to do that one. Now you're getting low, high, higher, low, higher, high. This is your line in the sand long short now. See the low, high, lower, low? There's a kiss. Is that a trend change, anybody? I do believe that's a trend change, because you're looking at a low, high, lower, low, lower, high, lower, low. Then they tried to retrace it, kissed resistance and rolled, and they break that area right there. I would probably box this in for one contract right across here, or probably do Charles's trade right there at that line 5. So if it breaks line 5, since you got a swing right there, just go ahead and do it at 6 instead, 8 at 205. Let's see if that works. There you go. That trade was called this morning, by the way. Everybody see how to see it? No prices on the charts, just swings. And you can start picking this up pretty well if you just simply start watching for the lows, the highs, the lower lows. When they start breaking those areas, they break the secondary one on the left. You know, we got in a little bit less than some of our people. Literally got this trade right across here that were aggressive this morning. Probably they waited for a little pop and a pullback where they didn't check this and then took off. But still, is that a good trade or what? And if you took that trade, that was what, that was right about when we closed the room this morning. Anybody trade oil after we closed the room this morning? But drawing on your charts, would you have known to go long there, even though that's what it looked like? But you had a high, a low here, much lower low, little lower low, high, little lower low again. So when they start breaking this and they start breaking this, they're heading up. And you want to see what oil did? Watch your lightning. Anybody trade this little puppy this afternoon at all? Where's your line in the sand long short as I speak on this chart? 1328 in the afternoon. Where's it at? Right there. There you go. Janetta said she got like $1,290 on that trade this afternoon. Yeah, I got my the Apex PAs I was telling you about this morning, where they were at 23 something, I think it was. I got them to a little over 33. And that's all you got to do this. You know, trust the scripts, trust the swings, because when they start taking out these swings, they're not going to be heading up. Okay, but until they do, so even right as we speak, this is still a high, low, higher high, high, low, ABC, higher high, higher low than this one, lower high, higher low again, higher low again. And what is it doing right now? I don't know, but because we haven't had a lightning draw again. But where's your line in the sand long short that you really don't want to hold this trade much longer is right across here and here. they go breaking this, they'll head down. And that's the way you got to do it. It works. And all you got to do is get one or two of these little trades like this. And I'll show you the actual chart just so you can see it. Let me see if I got one right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Right here. Mid-band trade, first time after trend change. Mid-band trade, ratcheting up like crazy. And then even at the bell, literally at 5 o'clock, which I don't trade 5 o'clock because it's too slow, but you're still long on that trade. They have not taken you out. If you draw lightning 3, you'll see it. Now, could you have gotten out and gotten back in? Sure. There's your lightning 3 right there. High, low, same high, higher low, higher high. So that is your line in the sand long short right there. Beautiful way to trade. All right, so what's all going to do overnight? We'll find out. But you've already got your roadmap, so you'll know what to do when it does what it's going to do. And then just keep drawing. And we'll talk about the mid-band trades and the phantom trades next week, going a little bit more in depth on them. But tonight, I just really wanted to talk about basic swing setups because it's key to trading. I mean, if you look at any time on your lightning charts, you'll see if they're stair-stepping up, you're staying with that trade all the way through those stops, because then they'll pull back, they'll wick it, and they'll bounce it again. You know, like more than likely they just do this. They come down, they barely wick this, might even come down to a little higher than this one, and then they go up again because they're constantly checking these little swings. But if they start getting a high, low, lower high, lower low, and taking out like your little ABCs and stuff, then these would be areas to be looking for shorts. Okay. All right, everyone, we're going to do this again tomorrow. And wouldn't you know, they gave a monster move in the afternoon. So we could get a little chop tomorrow. We'll find out. We'll see what they do. I mean, oil's already to 83.40 area, so that's huge. You know, that's some of those bigger areas we haven't been in a while. Okay, so let's trade wisely and let's trade with swings. Don't use this big swing. See how this even did all this zigzag through here? But notice it wasn't enough to draw lightning 3. You're not using lightning 3 to get in trades. You know, could you use it if it breaks a lightning 3? Yes. But what I'm talking about is you don't want to wait for this thing to go all the way up here for this first pullback. You wanted to get in this trade literally low, high, low, high over here, low, lower, high, lower, low. That's your conservative entry right there. This is your aggressive entry right there. Anywhere in this little sweet spot right here, I would take that trade. And I'm sure if Janetta made $1,290, she took that trade right there. Okay. All right. Thanks everybody for coming to the webinar tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. And keep in mind too that there's a lot been added to Object Trader, so be sure, be updated with it, okay? And let's go to Viper. You'll see under your login, your download latest scripts is dated 6/20 with Apex rules, okay? So be sure you get that one, okay? Because the Apex rules that we added to it, I've already had people tell me it's making a big difference in not, you know, just adding to losers, because you can't add to losers if you use that rule right there. Okay. And also remember that I always keep these things updated too. Like when I do Object Trader additions, if you go to your Object Trader tutorials, you'll find that I added the different things to it. Like for instance, Apex rules built into Object Trader. It's about a 20-minute video. Auto and Auto Max, we just added. Object type Lightning 1 through 4, we just added. Break and Kiss Long, we just added. And even new Auto Fib. Those have actually been within the last few months. These within the last couple of weeks. Okay. So I'm striving to make sure that you got the best scripts out there and hopefully the best trading room available anywhere. Okay, and we do it based on micro and secondary swings. And we draw our line in the sand long short as we get these. When they're consolidating and you start getting these areas, you know where it's going to change trends. Okay, I'm going to go gargle some salt water. Got 2 more times before I go to bed, and I got to actually do it for 7 o'clock, which I missed. All right, we'll see everybody in the morning. Thanks. On a side, why are there 3 or 4 auto fibs on top bar? Ivan, on your question there, I only do that because I like to actually, on my trading chart, I draw a little bit larger fib. You know, for instance, this move right here is a big move. So there's a Fibonacci. Okay, so if I short a break, I'm going to take some coin when they hit these levels. Then I use the long one for just the one that's prevalent right now. And if it was a short chart, I use this one. So it's only on there because I like to have them to where they're blue, yellow, And if you were looking at short, they would be red, but we're not looking at shorts right now. So you turn that one off. Okay, that's why I do that, because I like to have the longer term, because you can take it to the bank with that kind of a run. If they break line in the sand long short, you can probably kiss that little area beautifully with a good short trade, because they'll zigzag it down there. And then they may bounce tomorrow morning and then head back up again. They may even come to that 50%. They may come to the 61. You know, you got to look and see, where do they actually break out and kiss? That's key to it. Okay, so notice that even right here, they had this thrust up and retrace. They have never even once checked that box. Then they broke up again. They never checked this swing. See right across here? They've not checked it yet. So, you know, you can take that to the bank that more than likely sometime tomorrow they'll check those swings right there. And that'll probably be a 61% retracement. Let's see, I didn't need to reload the template to get rid of the excess ones. Well, what you can do if you don't want these up here, just simply go right click and go to indicators, pardon me. And where it says auto fib, that's the blue one, that's the yellow one, and that's the short one. So if you don't want but one up there, just simply go remove, and let's remove that one too. Click OK, and they'll be gone. Now you still have your auto fib OT because that's part of Object Trader, and then you would just simply save your template. I'm not going to because I do like all three, but you would just save it as your template. And if you ever mess up instead, you know, like you could save it instead like power dots minus fibs, you know, something like that, just so you'll know that it's different than my chart. You know, save it like that, and then whenever you load it, it would load that one. And then if I want to load my regular one, I just go right click, template, load, object, NT power dots, and I'm back with all my fibs. Okay. I know this probably helps some people because we haven't done this basic in quite a while, but you know, if you just train your mind to see higher lows, higher highs until it changes, high, low, lower, high, starts taking out your line in the sand, they're changing trends. Okay, I'm gonna go gargle some salt. Thanks everybody. I cannot wait for 7 weeks to go by where I literally get those beautiful, the ones that are in my mouth right now are like a plank, but the ones that I'll be getting won't be. These are healing prosthetics. They cut bone and everything. All right, thanks everyone. See you in the morning. Adios.